day is done and the kids are in bed, so it's time for a brew with Lucy.
Adyn Townes, welcome. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Oh, good. It's so great to have you here for a brew with Lucy. Do you have a cup of tea to hand?
I don't have a cup of tea. I actually don't really even have teacups, but I have this.
What is it?
It's a sour beer.
A sour beer.
Hold on. I could probably find a teacup. 1 second. I have more of a chalice than anything. Well, I've spilt it all over the floor, but but this seems better. Look, here's my look. See? Ooh.
Oh, wow. That's super folky. I'm feeling
Thank
it.
So foamy on my beard. All right.
Oh, well, it's absolutely amazing that you could join me, and so strange that we're on our final week, your feature week of Global Music Match. So just in case people haven't worked this out about you by now, you're a multi-award winning musician hailing from Canada. You've got this really just like fun and powerful pop sensibility kind of combined with these beautiful, heart-wrenching, soul-splitting songwriting skills. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know you over the last 6 weeks. So I wondered if you'd start by talking to us a little bit about where you're living right now and how that affects your songwriting, and kind of, give us some Canadian vibes, man.
Sure. Well, I'm technically based out of the East Coast of Canada, which is an amazing community of musicians. We have such a pool of talent and inspiration to draw from all of the time. So, I think that kind of has always really played a role in the songwriting, just because of the support from, like the East Coast Music Association, the other artists that are in it, and just everywhere, on the East Coast feels like home. So it's kind of, you're always comfortable and safe wherever you are. And I feel like that's a great platform for writing. But I mean, I say that, and I'm in these beautiful, happy spots, and I write these horribly sad songs. So I guess I just need to feel comfortable to be sad.
Yeah, totally. Well, I can completely relate to that. I mean, the amount of, I feel like if people had never seen me live, or perhaps now caught one of these interviews, they might really genuinely believe that I was kind of like down a deep well writing songs without sunlight or happiness or joy in my life. And I think, your songwriting world does seem to be equally dark, but like misery's where it's at, right?
Yeah, I mean, like writing sad songs is easier to do for me. I find the challenge of writing a happy song is very difficult, but I also kind of feel like when I started writing songs and playing music for a living, it was always just write whatever kind of comes out. And if that's what comes out, that's what comes out. And I think forcing it or trying to, adhere to this, well, you should write a happy song, I think is like, it's not going to produce a song that is genuinely me. And I don't feel like ever doing that. So I have yet to do that.
Good words, man. Authenticity is totally where it's at, and it pours out of your back catalogue. So when you're writing, is it a matter of just sitting down and playing some guitar? What's the process like for you?
Well, I have never been one of the people that carries a notebook around with him and, jots down heartfelt, deep thoughts. For me, kind of the idea of turning music into a career as a whole came from playing these weekly gigs where I had to fill this large amount of time. And, I used to play a lot of cover songs as well more than 10 years ago. And I didn't have enough to properly fill the slots. So what I would do, and because no one was really listening, is I would just kind of make up songs on the spot. And it kind of started to form and shape the way that I wrote songs, because sometimes I was really surprised with what came out. And so when I sit down, 9 out of 10 times I pick up the guitar and nothing good comes out. The words don't match, or there's not really an authenticity to what I'm trying to say or how I'm trying to say it, musically or lyrically. And I just it's a game of patience. I wait until something sticks and form, the song around that, and kind of let the song tell me what it's about, which is kind of a fun sense of discovery for me as the process goes on. And then once I kind of know what it is about, I really try to dive into it, pull on some experiences that I've had and or that other people around me have had. And so, yeah.
That's so interesting. I think that, making up songs on the spot is the first time I've ever heard a musician, say that was a starting point for their writing process. Like, making up songs on the spot in front of people. That's a bravery. That's a leap of faith. And that's really, really cool. I'm also pleased to hear that you're a fellow songwriter that just chips away at stuff, because I'm always just, so, well, I was going to say jealous, but let's go with in admiration of the people who just, a song pours out.
Yeah, I've always been really interested in, group writing and all of that stuff. And I've done some co-writes, and the process has always been really wonderful for me. The only problem that I've ever struggled with is I feel like the idea that a song can or should be written in a day is something that doesn't really match with the way that I approach things. Now, of course, I've done it. You and I have both had those songs where, the song is 5 minutes long and it took you 4 minutes and 50 seconds to write it.
Yeah.
Those are very few and far between. And I like the idea of, kind of puzzle piecing, a couple ideas from early this year together with an idea that I had in the shower last week. And also the shower is like my real thinking time.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Yeah, songs sometimes need to mash, don't they? They need you to have some space from them to tell if they're any good or if they're worth, keep working on and all that kind of stuff. So your last album, it came out in 2018 after the fall. It's a beautiful record, by the way. It's been such a pleasure to listen to this week. But I wanted to ask you, there's quite a lot of songs on there that reference places: Hollywood, LA, Paris skies. You talk about living in Montreal. So I was kind of getting the sense that, like, it's really important for you as a songwriter to drop your audience right in the picture of what you're trying to create, because these are such, iconic places that even from over here in Derby, I could picture where you were talking about and all that kind of stuff. And I know you've traveled extensively touring over the years. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about your relationship with travel and how that seeps through into your songs.
Well, I kind of try to write songs sometimes as though I'm looking at a postcard, and I love, the feelings that you can get from just seeing like a place you've never been, or a spot that maybe you had planned on going with somebody that fell through for whatever reasons. And I feel like when you give people sometimes those landmarks, it's a little bit more easy for a listener to kind of like grasp onto. But as a songwriter, it's also a little bit more simple to kind of build this world around. And actually, like, I've never been to Paris. Paris has always just become this idea for me of a spot that I've actually tried to go 2 different times, and 2 different times it has failed for opposite reasons. But it's kind of always been this spot that, seems unattainable. And I kind of put that sense of the inability to kind of make it there into the idea of a relationship where you overextend yourself and it just doesn't seem to work out. So I think that those visuals really help. But also, it's kind of, I've also never been, to a lot of spots that I've talked about in songs, and yet I've had dreams, or that's just what's come out when I'm making up the words, and it needs to be written, and I don't really know why always. And, you know, I think it's kind of like I've said before that sometimes my way or my songs have a way of coming true, whether it's, you know, kind of immediately or shortly down the line. Sometimes I've been years removed from a song that I've written and been like, this is now happening to me. And I wrote this, you know, 8 years ago. So.
Wow, prophesizing stuff.
Soothsayer.
Picking up on energies and all that, all those kind of vibes. That's really, really interesting. And the thing you said about, you know, Paris becoming this unattainable place, if people go and listen to your track Paris Skies, they'll absolutely kind of hear all of what you just described, you know, in the beautiful song that you wrote. So we have, well, they're not very early Global Music Match meetings for me. They're in the middle of the day, but for you, they are at the crack of dawn. And you've been brilliant at getting up and giving your all to these meetings that we have in our team. But I have to ask you, because there's two of them, and we haven't had that many because we've only known each other 6 weeks. Two of them, you've been emerging from the woods. So I'm sensing you're an outdoorsy kind of person, and I've kind of got this alternative image of you. If you weren't like Adyn Townes, folk singer, singer-songwriter, pop star extraordinaire, you'd be like a mountain man in the woods, just playing songs to passing squirrels. Like music is in your blood. Tell me about being an outdoorsy person.
Sure. Yeah, you know, when I first started playing music, and when I was younger, like it's always been something I love. I love being outside, but you know, I used to kind of rock a lot of pleather, and you know, my time was mostly spent in bars and that kind of stuff. And now that I'm older, my favorite thing to do is to go camping and be in the woods. And there's just this like, or be near the water, which obviously being from the East Coast is very important to me. And there's this part of me where I struggle a lot to feel centered or kind of understand the role that I play kind of on this crazy planet. And when I'm reminded of how like small I am, it kind of almost makes me feel somehow more driven to really pursue what I'm doing, and reminds me of why, you know, I like the person that I am, and I genuinely believe in the music I make and why I make it. And every time that I'm in the woods, I feel that. And you know, I love animals. I would never I truly do not kill flies or spiders or anything like that, because killing things because they're annoying is not the reason to do it. So I feel like it's just over time starting to become even more and more ingrained in who I am. And as we're talking, literally after this interview, I'm going to continue working on my Dodge Grand Caravan minivan named Gregory, where my partner and I have traveled all over driving it. And we are building a bed in it again. And like, it's my favorite thing. So.
Oh my goodness, Gregory sounds amazing.
Oh, he's so good. I have, you know, his own voice for him, and he's been incredible. He's truly like, Canada is not small. He's been across Canada 4 different times. He's also, you know, transported me and, you know, various bandmates to destinations safely in bad weather, good weather, everything. And the day where we don't have Gregory anymore will truly be like losing a friend. And he's inspired a lot of good thinking time. So.
Oh, well, nice one, Gregory. It's actually my dream to have a van and to travel about in the place. So I'm glad you're living that dream with your beautiful partner, traveling across your incredible country. It's so very cool. So the first interview that I did as part of this Global Music Match process was with Suavar, and that was amazing. And I asked him about his best live gig memory, and he essentially just told me his most embarrassing live gig memory, which I actually just feel is a better question. And so this question is sponsored by Suava. What's the most embarrassing or funny thing that's ever happened to you at a gig?
Well, I would probably say that there's something embarrassing that happens every time. I have this kind of way about me where I stumble over words, or kind of maybe say slightly the wrong phrase the wrong way, or I accidentally forget to do up my fly, which seems to be a consistent thing. But when I was younger, I remember, and I still have recurring dreams about it. It is now a nightmare to me. I was in university, and I was a classic, and continue to be quite a classic procrastinator. Only do stuff when it's needed, and then do it really kind of to the max. So I studied for this one exam in a course that I don't think I'd ever attended the class. And I remember I was up for something like 48 hours or 50 hours straight. And I had one of those weekly gigs that, we're talking about. But at this time, it was kind of less like no one was listening and more like people were actually starting to, come. And I remember maybe the show was starting at 9, and I was like, okay, 6 o'clock, I will have a little power nap. And I was so tired that I fell asleep for almost 24 hours, woke up the next day after I'd already missed the show, started getting ready for the show, looked at my phone and realized that I'd actually missed an entire day. And that the show was actually last night. And the brain realization of that is really hard to be like, this is impossible. That's the longest I've ever slept. So, certainly not like I do drugs or anything. I just genuinely was so mentally tired. And the owner wasn't thrilled. So I think that's probably my most embarrassing moment, is having a bunch of people turn up and not be there.
So I thought we'd move on to the fun portion. Well, hopefully we've been having fun, but extra fun portion, the quick fire round of the interview. Adyn Townes, LPs or CDs?
LPs.
Good answer. Live music or recorded music?
Live music.
Starter or pudding?
Starter, yeah. An appetizer is like, in fact, in particular, mozzarella sticks. Done.
Okay, morning person or night owl?
Oh, night owl, 100%. Not even in the stratosphere.
I feel like you're a thinker. Feel like you're somebody that thinks at night.
The best, yeah, like, I don't know. I definitely have never written a song in the morning, ever. I never probably will. And at nighttime, that's when you really start to kind of feel that proper sad.
For sure. The real deep sad.
Well, it's so quiet out. It's kind of like the same reason I like camping, because like at nighttime, things are quiet.
If you could collaborate with anybody, any genre, dead or living, who would it be?
I'm actually going to do a little bit of Canadian representation here. And
Woo!
I am going to say Bieber. Come on. Who is better than Bieber? I mean, I just feel like he would be a cool guy. I don't know. Probably Ed Sheeran too. I feel like Ed Sheeran's like more above board. He's like everybody's best bud. So I'll go with Ed Sheeran kind of as a second answer because you laughed. But I probably would still say Bieber. I listen to
I'm
quite a
so
bit.
sorry. I'm saying, by all means, go and collaborate with Justin Bieber. And you know what? I'm laughing from a point of view of sheer ignorance, because I've literally never, ever listened to an album of his. So that's on me. I shall go forth. If Adyn Townes is saying that he'd like to collaborate with him, there must be more there for me to explore.
Current Bieber. Current.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Not like childhood Bieber. Current.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To be able to own all of the dogs in the world. I don't know how the superpower works exactly.
Maybe you're like the dog whisperer, like just every dog in the world can hear your voice in their ear and follow your commands.
But like, I've thought about being able to hear dogs before, and it's like, what if he didn't like what they were saying? What if like dogs don't really like me? That would be a real hindrance to my existence.
Indeed, because you've got like two little furry love bugs, Darby and Finnegan, in your house. I imagine it would be like incredibly heartbreaking if you found out they were just there for the food.
Well, for a portion of time when I was a kid, my family had 12 dogs. And
What?
yeah, so we had 2 dogs, and then one of them had babies, and we kept the babies for quite a while. And so I was this like not super popular kid kind of when I was younger. I kind of got a little bit like, I don't know, I maybe bullied or whatever, but I remember it was like at the end of the day, I get to go home and put puppies on me, several puppies. So my life was great.
Oh, your own little like pack. I hope you had a sled. They pulled you around the I've just got these images. Again, I suppose it just sort of comes back to that man in the mountains with 12,000 dogs to its name.
Wow.
All
And
that
I'm trying to put on my winter weight as well. I'm trying to do it early. I've been trying all COVID.
So I'm going to hop back now and ask a question that I missed off of my list about your songwriting. So we've joked about, how writing sad songs is so much easier and that fans should expect misery and all that kind of stuff. But you do genuinely have the most beautiful way of expressing those feelings that we have all experienced in life, those, loss. Be that of a relationship or something wider. A gig with you, how do your audience, I imagine, basically I'm saying if I came to see you live, I think I would just cry. Do you have to like give out tissues at your gigs? What's the live experience like with Adyn Townes?
Oh, well, in between the songs, I'm pretty dorky, and like, I feel like that's hopefully like a nice up and down. I feel like there probably could be some tissues handed out, but hopefully, the majority of people who do come, kind of use those songs as the same way that I do, which is like a constant healing. There's like an adrenaline to kind of letting yourself go to those dark places and coming back. And it almost like every time I sing these songs that do have a lot to do with where I've been and like how I've gotten here, which hasn't been super, particularly easy. Every time I sing them, they make me feel better, and it's like kind of hopefully for an audience, and that obviously as a folk singer yourself, I feel like why people are drawn to folk music is because it does allow them that kind of healing time where it's like, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not the only one who's ever felt this way. And it's okay that I do. And, I will just kind of use it and learn from it, make room for it, and be better tomorrow.
That's beautifully put. A cathartic experience for everyone. I think sometimes as an artist, your focus can be on the audience experience, but actually the very best gigs are where you're both getting as much out of it emotionally. And it sounds like that's really kind of key to what you try to offer your audience. So I hope that people make sure that they follow along on this, your Global Music Match Feature Week. They can find you in all of the usual online haunts. I'll make sure that I post links to that in this post. It's been my absolute pleasure to chat to you and get to know you, Adyn. And you know what, my life, I'm going to be like bereft without Global Music Match. So please, can we stay friends forever?
We can definitely stay friends. And I'm excited when we work together. It's going to happen. We're going to make that happen.
Definitely. The legacy will live on. But it's been a pleasure for you to join me this evening for Brew with Lucy.
I do just want to say back to you, like our conversations together have meant so much to me. And like, it just reinstills in me that like, there is just such wonderful people out there that, obviously it's a bit of a tragic time and all of that stuff, but like Global Music Match has just been so great for connecting and reminding artists that you're not alone in this, and you got, people all around the world that are there doing the same thing. And thanks for being one of those people.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Right back at you. Mate, you've just made me well up a little bit. So it's the perfect moment to end this interview. Take care, my love. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much. See you.